why the developers are loving Next.js. Really, in the recent, we have seen a larger front-end developer choosing Next.js as one of their tool to build their front end. And the reason behind that is a lot of features which is being offered by Next.js. Some of them I have listed down here.
Hello and welcome everyone. Hope you're keeping well and staying safe. This is Hafsanjum and I am working as a community executive at Recro when we are working towards building an exclusive community for developers to help you get connected with like-minded people, build your network and grow professionally. So those who don't know about what Recro is, it is a developer-focused platform helping developers to meet the right opportunity by connecting them with fast-growing startups such as CureFit, Udan, Swiggy, Dunzo, etc. So welcome to Recro Talks again. And today we are having a webinar on Create Next.js app with MongoDB Atlas and Vercel. Our guest speaker for today is Kushrag Keshav. Kushrag is a software engineer at MongoDB with over 2 years of experience. He is very passionate about cloud technologies and is involved with actively teaching, mentoring, and writing about technologies. He also writes on Medium, so do check out his blogs. And as well, he's also a community evangelist. He is also a public speaker. His interest includes traveling, sci-fi, music. So thank you so much, Kushrag, for joining us. You may go ahead and say hi to the audience.
Sure. Thanks, Apsa, and thanks for introducing me, and thanks for having me on the Recro. And yeah, hi, all of you who are watching. Hi, folks. And I'm Kushagra, working as a software engineer on MongoDB from past 2 years. And today I will be talking about Next.js application. But yeah, let me first share my slide. So it will look, yeah. So today I will be talking about the Next.js app and how we can build using MongoDB Atlas, and we will deploy it on Vercel. So we will use the MongoDB Atlas, and we will just build everything with the Next.js framework. It's a framework of React.js, and we will learn that why the Next.js and MongoDB have a beautiful integration. So I think we should get started, and I guess we have like more than 60 plus people, so it'll be great if more people will join. But yeah, let's don't get waited for more. Great. So the agenda of the talk is
Yeah,
that.
so sorry to cut you out, but just a quick question. For the people who are joining in our live, be it YouTube or LinkedIn, guys, please make sure that your questions are posted in the comment section, and I will be taking up the questions and the speaker will be answering the questions. So if any question, let us know what it is. And for the people joining in on Zoom, post your questions in the chat section. And if you want any of your friends or colleagues to be to join this webinar or attending this webinar, please share the live link because we are live on Recro's LinkedIn channel and also YouTube channel. So you can either go to either of that and you can watch us live that we're streaming. So yeah, I think we can continue, Keshav.
Great. So yeah, so today we are going to talk about how to integrate MongoDB database with Next.js application, and how to use MongoDB with Next.js server-side props and APIs. And then we will follow up with the Next.js static generation with MongoDB, and then we will deploy the app on the Vercel, and we will do it just within an hour. And it will be very simple, and anybody who wants to follow with me, great. Otherwise, you can see the recording and just do, and your one of the project will get ready. So let's get started. So firstly, I wanted to talk that why the developers are loving Next.js. Really, in the recent, we have seen a larger front-end developer choosing Next.js as one of their tool to build their front end. And the reason behind that is a lot of features which is being offered by Next.js. Some of them I have listed down here. That is hybrid server-side rendering, and zero configuration. One is file system routing, and another API routes. So these are the couple of things. But I think one of the very famous thing which I have felt while working with Next.js, it is the the way how we build something using Next.js, or something like when you start with any of the technology, sometimes you feel like you have to go through docs and you have to read all the documentation, and you sometimes feel like, okay, I know little bit. But when you really start working with that particular tech stack, you feel like, okay, is it this is something which is like very tough for me in the initials, or you have to put a lot of hard work to understand that particular tech stack and get on everything on the working scenario, because sometimes you get stuck in errors and you don't know how to resolve when you get here and there. But all these of things have been solved by Next.js. It's a kind of, in a backend, you can say it's a complex piece of code, but yeah, Next.js makes developer work very easy. You can do everything with very minimalistic code and with very, like, in an easy way. You will in very like convenient way. It improves the developer productivity on the whole. So I have felt this thing, and I really admire that how we have a developer have put a lot of effort in building the Next.js. And also it have a very amazing community support. Talking about MongoDB Atlas. So we are going to integrate our Next.js application with MongoDB Atlas. And we all know that MongoDB is a NoSQL document-based database. And something you have been really aware that we have a lot of features in Atlas, and some of them I have listed down here, that it's a NoSQL document database in which we are like schema flexible. You don't have to be very schema based. We don't have to build any model. We also have a Atlas search which is powered by Lucene, and we have a serverless platform. Like when you opt for serverless, you have just pay for what you use. And also we are on the multi-cloud. We are on AWS, we are on Azure, and we are on GCP. So these are the some amazing benefits of using MongoDB Atlas. And also it's very much platform managed. You don't have to spend a lot of time on scaling it, or doing any kind of complex thing on the database end. So yeah. I will just, I'm not going to go through a lot of slide, but yeah, before running down to my screen on the VS Code, I just want to know that for this tutorial, you will need couple of things. That is, account on MongoDB Atlas, account on Vercel, a Node.js, which is 12 plus version, and NPM and NPX. So you can download the Node.js from the Node.js official website, and with the Node.js, you will get the NPM already installed, and you can simply go and create account on Atlas as well as Vercel. I will show you some of the steps on how you can create Atlas and Vercel account. But yeah, it's very easy. Just you have to just go and sign up. That's it. So let's get on to my VS Code. Let me reshare my screen so everybody can see my VS Code. Uh, yeah, I think you guys can see the VS Code. Great.
Oh, yeah, it's visible.
Okay, great. So here we are going to run some of the command to get started. And but before that, I just wanted to let me share my whole screen. That will be good. Like I don't have to reshare every time. Just it's visible.
Yeah, it's visible.
Great. So firstly, I will just go to MongoDB and will show you guys how you can uh, just create the database. So yeah. So what you have to do, let me open on an incognito mode so you guys can see that what we can do here. So just you have to go to cloud.mongodb.com, and you can sign up. Um, it's open, yeah. So once you sign up, you will see this particular page. Then after, once you are in the database, you have to just click on build a database, and you have to just choose a free version. Here we have a couple of versions, that is one serverless and dedicated. You have to choose free, which is we don't need any kind of credit card here. Go click on create button, and it will just start creating a Sardis cluster. You can choose any one of the cloud provider, either say AWS, Google Cloud, or Azure. I will go with GCP and nearest to my location, which is Mumbai. And I will leave everything as it is and just click on the create cluster. And just with a couple of seconds, the cluster is being getting provisioned in the background, and it need you to create username. You can create anything, whatever you want. I will create my username here, and I will hit create user button. So it will create a user for me, and it's all done. You can choose a local environment. You can add the current IP to your IP access list. So what it does, so whatever the IP you are adding here, it will only allow the database to get access with this particular certain IP. If you want to access from anywhere, you can use the IP 0.0.0, and this will allow the ID to be used from anywhere. So that is something. So you can click on add entry, and this is from anywhere you can access. And you just click on finish and close, and you can go to database. That's it. You have your one of the database ready. And once it's done, you have to click on these three buttons, and you will load a sample data set. A sample data set consists of 350 MB, and total space we have in a free version is 500 MB. So it will take a couple of time to get all the data set loaded. We will not wait until now. We already have that particular things ready here. So we have my database already. If you go to browse collections, you can see all the database here. And it's very simple. So you have sample Airbnb, sample analytic, geospatial, and every database, which is a sample database. And once you go back and click on the connect button, you will get a SRV string to connect the MongoDB database with your application. Okay, it's very simple. We will just copy it. We will use it in while working with the code. So get ready. I'm just going to open the VS Code, and we will hit npx, and there is a command which will create a next app. Create next app will create just wrap up a Next.js app with the example of with MongoDB, and mflix is the name of my application. I will hit enter button, and it will start creating the and everything. Okay, I'm in a same. So let me create one more. Let's say Recro. I will create one Recro. I will go into Recro, and then I will do the same command. I already have one, so that's why it's not creating. And it will download some files from the node with the help of npx, and it will be ready in a while. Great. It will just take a couple of seconds. For this particular download, you need to have npm, as I have already mentioned, and npx, which you can download with the Node.js package itself. So you have to just go to Node.js website, and from there you can download from whatever the operating system you are using. Either you are using Windows or Linux or Mac. Yep, taking some time. It's done. Great. Now it's a run dev. So I will just firstly go into my app, which is mflix. I will go into mflix, and it says npm run dev. Then I will try to run it. Npm run dev, and it says it had started. So I can go to localhost 3000. So let's open localhost 3000. Let's see what's we got. Okay, so it says that you don't have a MongoDB URI. So we already have got the MongoDB URI string. So let's stop this first and open these files here. And okay, we have opened this particular file, and you can see there is a env local example. So env is an environment variable which is asking for a MongoDB URI. So, we have just copied MongoDB URI from here. Go to connect button, go to application, and copy this particular thing. We are using Node.js application, so we will click on this, and we will paste it here. And I will replace the password with password, which is root. And then you just save it and just rename it to env.example. Otherwise, it will not work because it's example one. So remove the word example from here and it's done. Great. So MongoDB URI, we have added the URI. URI will help this particular application to connect with the MongoDB database. So it's very simple. And then again, retry to run that particular code. So just exit it, and I will just try here itself because we already have here open. So I will run the command again, npm run dev, and see what happens. So yep, it's running. It's running. Let's refresh it. Great, we are connected. So it says, welcome to Next.js with MongoDB. You are connected to MongoDB. So what it does, so we have a one file here. I will just show you in pages, uh, which copy all the client promise, and it calls one of the functions from the library, that is client promise function. So it called the client promise function from the library and MongoDB file, which is here. So from the MongoDB file, it calls the function, it goes into index, and from index, it says that if it's connected, you will say that it is connected. Otherwise, it will say you are not connected. So we have already written these things here, that you are connected to MongoDB if you have a correct substring of the database. And if not, then it will say you are not connected to MongoDB. So here it says that you are connected. So further, we will go ahead and we'll try to create the other files. So what Next.js already offer is something like whatever the folder you will create under the pages module. So for example, say you create a file page like top.js. So what it will do, it will create that particular page, and same that particular page will act as an endpoint. Okay. So it's taking a little time for file creation. I don't know why it's taking, but let's wait for time. Okay, let's stop it first, then we will try. Okay, great. It's now created. So after that, we will add some of the code here. We already have the code and the documentation ready. Let me share with you guys. So I have already written one of the article on this particular thing. If you go to here, so how to integrate MongoDB with Next.js application. And we already have some of the examples here present. So I will just copy of some of the examples from here to show how we can build. So in the first example, we are going to create an API endpoint with MongoDB. And I have just created one of the page, movie.js here, and we will copy this particular code. Okay. So let's go in the VS Code and create one of the page here, say movies.js, and I will just paste this code. So what this code say, code is just calling the client promise from the library, and it is going into sample mflix database. Sample mflix database. Under this particular database, there is a collection named movie, and from the collection, it's just taking all the movie until 10. Like we are taking just top 10 movie whose Metacritic is in mind. Like we have sorted it in a decreasing order. So if you go to database, let me show you. So if you go to browse collection and you go to sample mflix and movies database, you can see there are numerous of field, in which one of the field is uh, mm, yep. So you see there are a lot of field, genre, runtime, cast, poster, and all those things. If you see, there is one of the field Metacritic. I think it's not visible right now, but um, let me check. Yeah. So Meta, we have this already here. I'll just copy and check that if we have. If we don't, we will change the value. Yep. We have here Metacritic as a field. let's cancel it. So you can see there is a Metacritic field, which and in so we have sorted in a decreasing order. So minus will sort in a decreasing order, and plus one will sort in a ascending order. So here we are doing the same thing. So this particular collection will get top 10 movies in the movies array, and then we will just represent that and render that particular thing in a movie.js space. So let's save it and try to run it. So it started and it's compiled, and fast refresh applies only loaded in a ready state. Okay. So it says, okay, great. So it's showing some of the error, but let's see what the error is. Go to the Next.js app, create on this, go to the movie.js page, and it says it's not able to find the module. Okay, no problem. Let's fix this. So it is because we are under the pages.js, and I'm going towards backward to library and MongoDB. So I have to say .ts, and I think it might, okay, we are using a TypeScript and I have named JavaScript, that is there. Great. Let's run it again. Okay, it's again showing some of the errors. Let's try to fix it first. Wait, let me reshare again.
Till then, we have a question.
Yeah, you can
So
take.
you want me to like ask? So someone in the live is
Yeah,
asking. I saw in a survey that Node.js is mostly used. How can we get clear information when it comes to Node.js versus React.js?
Node.js. So Node.js is mostly for the backend server rendering, and we use Next.js, React.js on the front end part mostly. So yeah, so that's the part.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
And one question is, let me have a look. Mm, How to set up an environment variable?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was just the
How to
question.
set up an environment variable. So you have to
Yeah.
just create a .env file
Mhm.
in the root folder. So you have to just create a root when you go to root folder, you have to create a .env file, and from
Mhm.
there you can, like have all the like variable name, whatever the environment variable you have set into that particular in your project. So for example, I have here set my MongoDB URL. So I will just put
Mhm.
my URL here, and from the env file, it will automatically render that
Mhm.
whatever the values are, and it will just copy
Yeah.
that those value in the file, and then it will
Yeah.
start rendering. So yeah,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
just wait for a while. I'm just putting it like initially it was from the JS part. I just wanted it to from the Node.js perspective. That's why let me just give me a couple of seconds. It's already done.
And I think for someone who's asking if this session is recording, yes, it is recorded,
Yeah.
and it is going live on LinkedIn and YouTube. So we do have a live recording, and till then, after a while, maybe after a few days, we'll be posting a full-fledged edited version of this webinar. But till then, if you wanna go and have a look at the live recording of this, you can just
Mhm.
like go to our YouTube channel, and then you can have an access to our live recordings. Yep.
Exactly. So are there any other questions?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. So one more question is how do one troubleshoot the issues with their database?
Yeah, so it will depend. Like from the database, there are a couple of issues which we mostly see can we have like can we can see like something is when you one of the scenario when your database string is wrong, then you can face some issues there. That okay, that is apart from that, it really depend that what exactly the issue is. But I will help them out if we see the specific issue. Apart from that, you can post in our MongoDB universe community forums, and we have our
Mhm.
members to help them out. So it's not a big deal. Yeah.
I think those are the questions up until now. And now that we are going to the next segment of the webinar, guys, please keep post your questions in the comment section, and I'll get that to the speaker. So yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Great. So I was talking about the Next.js part. Here I have created three yeah, here I have created a movie.js which I was showing earlier. So I posted the code. So what we are doing here, we are just taking these movies and we are just rendering it out. So let run it first and let's see if we are still getting any issues. Yeah, let's edit it first. So initially I was in a TypeScript, but I wanted to show the demos of the Node.js. That's why I just changed the context. So go to Atlas, connect, copy, paste it. Now try to run it. npm run. It says okay. I have to run live. Yeah. So here we can see that it have started. It says that there are some issues on the movies level, but let's fix it together. I love debugging on the go. It's really give us the skill how you can debug then understand the things that is saying that each child is a list is a unique key props. Let's go and check it out. So firstly, let's comment this out and we will just see that what the issue is. And here we will return. Here we will just copy this particular field. See, it's working. It's working. Yeah. And now go to localhost. And now we will go to the movies. But it's again saying that it's not able to find. Mm, I think there are some issues in the version what I have installed, but let's see. Are we getting any questions still?
Yeah, I just have one question, which is, how do one make connection cached?
Connection caching.
Caching. Yeah.
Yeah, you can apply like when you go to a string, when you set retry to true or majority. So what MongoDB does, we don't have a connection for a long. So whenever one of the queries file, we close down the connection to save from the constant API calls. So for every time we make a couple of connections for every API call, and that is. But yeah, you can do it. You can get the connection. You do not close the connection, and if you do not close, it will be always connected to the database. And whenever you call, same connection will be used for all the API calls. So that's the way.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm still there are some issues which I need to cater. It was just working before that. Mhm. Okay, now like let's try. Let's take couple of questions. I think it's taking couple of time to debug it, but yeah, let's take couple of questions. Until then, I will just get this fixed in just a minute.
So one of the question is, how do you make sure that the configuration is correct? Like, do you have to restart our Next.js app again, or is there any other way to just like see if the configuration is correct or not?
Yeah, so sometimes the error message clearly depict what the reason is, how you can see that the message is correct or not. But yeah, sometimes you restart and all the file is re-rendered properly, and you can see that okay, the connections are working fine. So that is a one of the way. But yeah, most of the time you have to understand the error code, what the error code is throwing, and in that particular way, you can understand that why the things are working in that particular way. And in using like doing that, you can understand of okay, this is the reason the problem is occurring. So yeah.
Yeah. And how can one create API endpoints? So do we have to run data by any server side or something, or is that only way, or are there any other ways of doing it?
So there are couples of way in which you can there are a couple of way in which you can create a API. So one is
Mhm.
that you have to go via code. There is one way. You already sometime you have the all the codes available. All there are some website which offer a pre-built API. You can use directly that particular API uh, in your in your application. After that, there are a couple of platforms like say backend has a service where you can go and create those particular APIs, and from those particular API, all the things you will create on their platform, and it will just help you out to just take that API from the backend as a service, that particular platform, and integrate that particular API into your front end. So in that particular way, also you can have the API. So API is just a way in which two servers interact or two computers interact between each other. So that is a way. So yeah, now I have fixed it and tried to understand the what the error is. So error was I was trying to render it in the wrong file. So it was under, if you go to, it was under a so I am under movies.js. So if you see, I am under pages, under the pages I have an API folder, and under the API folder I have the movie. So first I have to go out. So this particular dot gets me out of the API folder, and second dot get me out of the pages folder, and then it goes into library and then call the MongoDB JS file. Due to this reason, I was not able to render it. Now it's running very successfully, and it is a great way that you have to understand why it's failing. And I did it on, like, on the reason to make sure that once you are building anything, there are errors you are going to stuck, and you have to be patient and try to find the reason behind that and how you solve it. And now when it's running, it's getting all the data, but I will just show you in a formatted way. So like go into localhost again, and I have my yeah, here. So if you see, it have all the data. If you see, it have 10 items here. And if you drop down, so it have item number 1, 2, 3, and all the 10 items. So we have rendered the 10 items from the database. So it have rendered all these 10 items. And in that way, what it's doing, so I am just not having any kind of say backend. So what I have done, so this particular app is just a front end part. I have just called my data. I have just initiated a database call using a Node.js driver, and all these data is getting stored into movie named variable, and I'm just rendering that movie name variable onto my Next.js, and Next.js is rendering that on the server side. So it's great that it's taking the data from the server end and it's directly rendering on the website. If you see, let me just close these down. So it's a incognito mode. That's why it's showing there. So if you see, I have all the folders. Now just work on some other files. Now go to the index movie.js file. Here, what I have done, I have to remove the couple of this thing and just save it. And it will, after you save it, most of the time run it automatically. But yeah, you can rerun it also, no worries. And where it is, my file, yeah, here is my file. Now go to the move. This was api.movie. Now try to go into the movies part and see what's happening there. So it is still says cannot resolve DNS. We will fix it soon also. So why it's saying this particular thing? Because I am into movie.js and it have the same page. So let's understand from the documentation, which I have already shared with you guys. So yeah, how to integrate, go to this particular tab and understand. So what we have done, so initially we have created a folder named API. Under API, we have created a movie.js file. And under the file, I'm rendering all the file. After that, what I have to done, so I have to create, so when you create any particular folder, so name of the folder become the endpoint. So if you see, the name of the folder is movie.js here. So that particular movie.js, and which is under the API folder. So if you write this particular statement, localhost 3000 slash API, which is a folder name, slash movie, which is a file name, it becomes a route. So you don't have to create a route here also. But that is a plus point of using Next.js. So it's very amazing. It does everything on you on the go. After that, what we have done, we get all the data. Now, after getting the data, we are trying to render this particular page on the server side. So what we are doing, we are just inside the pages folder, we will create a movie.js, and under movie.js, I will plot this particular line. So let's do it. So under the pages, if you can see, under the pages, I have movie.js page. Go into movie.js page, test it out, save it, and just see that, okay, it's saying some of the issues. Let's debug it. Uh, movies dot title. Criterias, good, no worries. So what it's doing, let's understand the error. So it's calling all the data from movie, and it is what it's doing. It's just stringifying all the movies and passing it in the in the movies named props. And after the movie names prop, we are passing this movie in this particular function. And after the movies is passed in that particular function, we are applying a map. We are applying a map, and we are just rendering each and every movie data in a title, Metacritic, and plot. And we are trying to figure it out. So once you do this, you will see something like page this, some similar page like this. So if you see, this is something you will see top 20 movies of all time, where you will see all the Metacritic, the name of the movie, the Metacritic score, and this and the title of the movie, that what's the movie is about. And in that way you can see all the movies detail in a pre-rendered way. So it's also means what it's doing. So what's it's doing, so it's getting all the MongoDB data, and it's the content of the data is getting on the server side props, and it is never sent to the client. But on the other hand, what it's doing, it's every time we call that particular page, our data is pretty static and unlikely, and it change all that often. So always what it does, it pre-render the page in the initial, so it don't do the database call every time. So whenever you click on that particular button, it don't call the database. You it don't get the data from the database. It have already saved on the client side, and this is pre-rendering that particular thing. Okay. After that, we'll see the next generation static MongoDB. So in that particular thing, what we will do, so we will try to copy this particular page, and we will uh, paste this particular thing in one another page, which is top.js. So if you go to top.js and try to paste it here, okay, stop it and run it again, and see what's happened. So it's running good. Yep. Now try to see that's what's happening. I see one of the questions. Shall we get the session? Oh, yeah, I think you already have answered this. So go to the top one, and here you can see all the top movies just have mentioned. Just go to top one. So once you go to top, you will see all the top 1,000 movie of the all time. So it contains 1,000 movie. So how it contains 1,000 movies? So in the database, if you see, we have written that it will limited to the 1,000 movie. So it will get all the top 1,000 movie from the database, and it will render on the screen. And in the movie.js, we have seen all, we have just taken the 20 movies, so it's just rendering the 21. So you can see all the top 100 movies of all time on the screen. And in that way, what we are using, we have to understand the functions. So if you concentrate here, so here we are using one function known as get server side prop. So what get server side prop does, it get the server, it never run that particular data on the server. It's amazing. It just go on the client and just display that data from the database directly. That's the smooth part of Next.js. If you go to top.js, we are using here get static props. So what get static props does, it every time whenever you call, it every time do a database call. So we have also written in our article, if you go to article, that top 1,000 movie, that it take a database round trip to do that 1,000 movie call. So whenever you refresh this multiple times, let's say go to top and refresh this multiple times, it will take couple of seconds to load, because it's doing a database call in a background, because we are using a get static props. Okay. So how to get rid of this? So currently it's not in a production, it's in a development mode. So it's taking that particular thing. But once we build it, after we build this particular app, it will not take this particular amount of time. So how to build that particular app? So for building the app, we will just go to our terminal, and just we will click on npm run build and npm run start. In that particular thing, in that particular way, it will not take more time. Let's see here, it is always saying that data for the page is 1.85 MB, which exceed the threshold limit. Exactly, because it's a doing a round performance. It's always going to the database and taking the data again and again. So just to avoid this, we will build this particular application. So we will run the build and see what happens. Once you build this particular application, it will build everything and it will get the data in a, once it built, it will not do a round trip of the database. And after building, you can start the application and you can see that if you start again, it will not show that particular error. Okay, we have started. Now go to same and just take a refresh it. And now try to check. It's just checking couple of seconds. It's not doing a database call. You can check it also in a network tab, not a big deal. You can check in the network tab, but currently you will not like you can check that how many time it's actually running and taking time. So it's just taking, if you see, it's just taking 1.1 second as of now, because it's currently 1,000 database. But yeah, if you refresh it couple of times, I'm just doing a hard refresh. That's why it's taking. But yeah, if it's just a simple refresh, it will just take 1 second approx, and it will get all the data. So it's great. Once you have built the application, so now we have built this particular application and it's ready. So now how we can deploy it. So what we have to do, you have to put this particular application on the GitHub first. So you have to go to GitHub and put this particular on the GitHub. Once you have put this in the GitHub, you have to go to Vercel. Vercel is a platform where you can deploy it. And on the Vercel, you have to create an account. I think I already have one. So I will go to add new and I will add the project. So what you have to do, you have to first connect your GitHub with the Vercel. So we will try to connect my GitHub with the Vercel and let's see. So I am already connected. Great. I will just click on the MongoDB Next.js. It's already there on my GitHub. I will import it. Once I have imported, I will leave these build and output setting as it is. I will go to the environment variables, and here what I have to do. So here you have to put all those data which you have put here in the env file, in the environment variable file. So go to environment variable file and you will see there is MongoDB URI. So just copy the variable name first, environment variable name, paste it here. After that, go to the URI and copy the value. Copy the value and commit here and just paste the value of the this and just click on the add. In that way, you have added the environment variable. Great. Just click on the deploy button and so you're ready to go. You don't have to do anything extra. It's already sorted. So it will take a couple of seconds and it will deploy your application on the Vercel and it will also give you the URL. So it's amazing. So just wait for a couple of seconds and you can see that it's deploying your application. You can also get the application, everything. If you go to my GitHub, I will just share the GitHub link. Just wait. github.com, go to github.com. And here, if I go to my repository, I can see Next.js with MongoDB, and this is from there you can see all the Next.js with MongoDB. This is all the code. Let's go to again deploy. It's deployed. Great. It's saying congratulations, we have deployed. Now how I can check that it's deployed? So we have our own URL now. Go to the dashboard and you can see the URL here. Yep, you can see the URL here or this one. Both of them are the URL. You can click on the deployment URL or something like this. And whatever we have built right now, this page, or say we were going to say API/movies. You can see movies here. It will take a couple of time. It's just taking all the data. Okay, great. You can see the movies database. Now go to other collection, that is top other endpoints, and you can see the endpoints are working great. And now go to movies again, where we can see the top 20 movies, and it's also working. So these are the 3 endpoints we have just created on our local host. We put it on the GitHub. After putting on the GitHub, we have created account on Vercel. We have just entered the environment variable, which is the MongoDB URI, and we are just hit deploy and it's deployed. And just if you say this is your project, you can use this particular link in one of your CV and you can create any of your favorite project, put it on Vercel, get the URL, and you are good to go. Simple, so easy. And That's it. And this was it. Let me know if you have any questions. Hafsha, is there any question on the LinkedIn?
Yeah, we do have a question, and I think Vaibhav is asking, so why can't we use Next.js for front-end and Node.js for backend, as they both are JavaScript family?
Yeah, we can. Definitely we can. We can use Node.js as a backend, and we can use front end as an access. We can definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think we're done with the questions.
Okay, great. So I
Yeah.
see a couple of questions regarding the Next.js. So Next.js, if you go to Next.js, so Next.js is something very amazing thing. It have built by the Vercel Next.js team. It's a React framework. If you go to website, it's just dynamic without the limit, they say. So they are doing just some amazing things over the React server components and over the React, and they have leveraged the React in the backend, and they have done some complex things. But yeah, they have built some amazing this amazing framework which is being used by very like in the company we are also using, outside a company the folks are using in the personal projects. So these are the things you can also leverage. You can check out the articles. I will share this article in the description. Afsa, can you share this in the LinkedIn also?
Yeah,
uh,
sure. And
so
we'll also add the article of Keshav in our YouTube description. So you can also like share your Medium article that you've been writing on MongoDB, Keshav, so that we can share it with the people,
so
or we
these are
can have it in the YouTube description.
sure, sure.
Yeah.
Great, great. Okay, so I've been doing hundreds of codes. I was jotting down all the 100 days on the Medium article, so you can check it down, and you can also see these articles which I've written on the MongoDB. You can also, if you want to learn more about MongoDB, you can go to the MongoDB website also, like learn.mongodb.com, which is recently we have revamped the MongoDB University, and you can learn about MongoDB, like how you can write these query. For example, if someone have faced in understanding that what this particular query is about, like what is DB or dot collection and something, find, sort, limit. These all things we can learn in the from learn.mongodb. So it's very, it just state by the word what exactly it is doing. But yeah, it's very simple to understand and very simple to get started. So yep.
Yeah. And I think one question is, how do we get our entire data directly into our Next.js pages? How do we like get our data directly to the Next.js pages?
Entire data, you mean all the data? Let me show
Yeah.
you. Great. Let me show you just now. So what you have to do, so here what I have done in the go to this particular API. I think you all can see. So here what I have done, I have just sorted it to until limit 10. Let remove this particular thing to limit 10. If I remove this, and it will get all the data. It will get all the data. It will take couple of time. Let's remove the sort also for a minute and just get all the data. So what it's doing, it's going into the movies collection. It's finding all the data. So this parameter represents, so within the curly parenthesis, if you don't specify anything, it will get all the data because you haven't specified any condition to match with the data, match with the data present in your atlas. So it will get all the data. Now just save it and try to run it. uh,
Yep.
Go to here, and so we have done these things on the local host. So let's run on the local API slash movie, hit it. It will take a couple of seconds because it's rendering all the data of the movies, and we have approx how many data. Let's see the number of datas we have in the movies collection. So we have around in the mflix we have to 23,530 data. So it will take all the data. So let's see what's happening here. Yeah, it's still rendering. See, we have all the data. So it have all it's not still like framed properly. Let me refresh it or run the JSON part. But yeah, it's fine. Just wait for a minute. So it have all the data. So what it have done, you can see the cursor is so small now. You can see the cursor. It's so small. It have all those 23,000 data here. And if you go to the tab, then if you try to inspect this, go to inspect element and go to network. It's still loading. You can see it's the data. The page is still loading because it's have a very a large amount of data, and we are not doing any kind of we are getting all the fields. We are not doing any kind of um, like good query. We can use aggregation here also, but we are not using aggregation. Aggregation is a some like advanced way of querying the data into applying some field. You can learn about aggregation on MongoDB University. But yeah, we are just using MongoDB query language. So it's still taking a lot of time to get all the data on the server. But yeah, you can get all the data. That was something, and you can see that we have all the data from the database on the server side.
Yeah, I think, well, that question is answered. And well, that brings us to the last question. I don't think so we have any more questions.
Great.
Yeah. So that was the last question of the session, guys. Thank you so much for being interactive and asking the questions. I hope the questions were answered, and they were engaging and thoughtful questions. And we really appreciate that you were being interactive and you were being curious to learn stuff. And that brings us to the end of this wonderful session. I would like to thank each one of you for joining us and hope you learned something new from today's session. We will look forward for your post on LinkedIn along with your key learnings. And don't forget to tag Recro, don't forget to tag Kushrag and me on your post. And we'll look forward for your learnings and your key takeaways from the session. And also, thank you so much, Kushrag. It was great having you, and thank you for taking time from your hectic schedule. And for those of you guys who are in Delhi, Kushrag is also attending a event by Google, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Can you just say that to people who are watching us?
Sure, sure. So it's organized by GDG Delhi. It's a Dev Fest, which is on 3rd of December in New Delhi. I will share. You can find the registration link on Google. Also, you just have to Google DevFest 2022, which is happening on 3rd. So I will be speaking at MongoDB data, MongoDB Atlas and Google BigQuery, like how you can integrate both of them and how you can apply some algorithm and ML algorithm on BigQuery on MongoDB Atlas data. So it will be amazing. I will be interacting with all other folks. Yep.
Yeah, for those of you guys who are in Delhi, and please drop by to that wonderful session or conference, and you can also find Kushrag and meet him in person, and you can also attend the other sessions and connect with the developers. So yeah. And before we end the session, I have a few announcements to make. So we have created a community for developers on Rebase called Rebase on Discord. So it is a closed community for JavaScript developers to unleash your true potential. So we have different initiatives that we have taken. We have community meets, mentoring sessions, and resume reviews, interview tips, coding practices. So do join in the community. And if you're someone with 2+ years of experience, you can get a chance to connect with fellow developers, get career opportunities, and ask for help. So do join and say hi to everyone and get connected. We have made a LinkedIn post about the session on the Recro's channel. Do comment your learnings over there, and please post your learnings and key takeaways in the comment section. And if you have more questions, you can connect to Kushrag on LinkedIn. He also talks about, he keeps taking the speaking engagement, and he talks about MongoDB and other tech stacks as well. So please do follow him. And if you're exploring career opportunities, Recro is hiring passionate developers. Check the current opening at Recro on our Recro's page. You can go to Recro's website and go to the job section, and you can find something that suits for you or your friend or your colleague who's looking out for a job, and we'll make sure that we'll place you on the A-grade startups of the country. So to stay updated for such events, do follow us on social media. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn and YouTube, and the recording of the session will be on both LinkedIn and YouTube. So you can go and you can rewatch it if something that you've missed. And if you have any doubts, you can reach out to Keshav on its LinkedIn. He'll be more than happy to help you guys. So that's all for this session, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and hope you learned something for this new from today's session. And I really appreciate taking your time on Saturday on a weekend to learn something new. And thank you so much, Keshav, for taking your time and being a really great speaker. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, guys. Stay safe and have a great weekend.
Great. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.